Hello and welcome to the Devoted Outdoorsman's podcast.
What is up, podcast peeps? I hope you guys have been having an awesome week and you're ready for this week's podcast. So, I don't know about you guys, but last weekend I finally made it out to the property to check the trail cameras, man. I haven't checked them since, it would have been the early part of June, the end of May. I haven't been able to check my cameras, so it was been eating at me. And me and Josh, my buddy, we had this day planned, so we finally made it out there. We cut some of our food plots up a little bit. I mowed them down with old Bessie, the lawnmower. Went in there real tight, got it mowed down as low as I could go. And we're gonna go back out here in a few weeks and plant seeds and get our stands hung. But the exciting part about pulling cameras was we ended up having a ton of great bucks on camera. So I'm pretty excited about this year. I'm not going to get too excited yet because we don't know exactly, who will stick around when it comes to the swap out in September. When the bucks go to from velvet to hardhorn, there's always that little swap out. You may swap up or you may swap down, so we'll see what happens. So this week on the podcast, we have a guest. His name is Mike Wheeler. He has a pretty cool TV show. It's called The Family Affair Outdoors. And he's going to talk to us a little bit about how he got introduced into the outdoors. And we're going to go from there. So I hope you guys enjoy this week's podcast, brought to you by the Devoted Outdoorsman Daybreak Coffee.
Hello, Podcast Nation. What is up? I hope you guys are having an awesome week. Like I've said for basically all summer, it's pretty toasty here in Oklahoma. It got a little bit cooler this week. It's been raining a little bit here and there, but other than that, it's still pretty toasty. So I hope you guys are having a great July, and I hope you guys are getting some great velvet pics out there. Today on the podcast, we have a pretty cool guest. His name is Mike Wheeler. He has a little TV show he's going to talk to us a little bit about, and, we're going to talk hunting, just like always. So, Mike, how did you get introduced into the outdoors, man?
Man, I grew up in the outdoors. I come from a family that, my family has always been big in the outdoors. We didn't eat much store-bought meat or anything. Mostly what we had to eat was wild game. So my uncle introduced me. I think I was like 5 or 6 years old, and he would take me hunting. And when I got of age to where I could hunt by myself, he just kind of, here's a gun and said, sit right here. That's how it all started. And over the years, I really got into deer hunting a lot. I like I'm just getting into turkey hunting, but I really like rabbit hunting. Rabbit hunting's one of my things. I've got several dogs that I use, and Oklahoma, we got a pretty good rabbit population. So when it's not deer season, I'm usually running rabbits with the dogs.
I think a lot of people's stories, the beginning of the outdoors experience and stuff like that, begins with, like you said, your dad or your uncle or whoever it may be, your grandfather in certain situations, setting you out somewhere. And I remember one time, this is kind of off topic, but you saying that brought this up. I remember one time when I was a little kid, my dad took me off into this bottom down in southeastern Oklahoma, and there was an old wooden ladder stand, and he said he's been there for as long as he can remember or knew about it, and he set me up in it. And about daybreak came, and I could feel bugs, I thought, but I was like, oh, it's dark outside, it's not a big ordeal, whatever. I thought maybe they were ants. Well, as it started getting daylight, I realized that they were ticks. This wooden stand was in an old cedar tree, and the ticks were just all up and down that cedar. I was covered. I took off yelling through the woods. My dad was so mad.
Man, at least you got a wooden tree stand. I got the ground to set on. I think I made it probably about an hour, and boy, my butt hurt me so bad. I had to finally, I remember standing up, and my legs were kind of like jello. It was just, my first experience wasn't that great. I didn't see any deer that my first time I went, but, I got started by my uncle. My dad was a truck driver. He wasn't ever around. And, he just didn't hunt. And my uncle, you know, he was always taking me hunting. He got me into squirrel hunting. He tried to get me in turkey hunting when I was younger, but when I was younger, I just couldn't get into it. And that was something this year. I tried it last year for a little bit, didn't have much luck. This year I went a few more times, and I finally got down to calling. I actually called in a big tom. That's a good story right there. I called in a big tom, and I didn't load my gun. I got too excited. I stepped out of the truck, and I hit my call, and he gobbled, and I grabbed my gun and run down there and sat down, and he comes strutting up there about 15, 20 yards in front of me, and they had no bullets in my gun.
You know, that happens. I guess, what is that, turkey fever? Not buck fever, so I guess it'd be turkey fever, tom fever, something like that.
It's got to be turkey fever. It's got to be something. And you know, I thought, man, you know, them turkeys. I thought them turkeys. I was like, they're stupid. They just come right in. That's not the case. They are actually pretty daggum smart. It took me. I hunted almost 2 weeks straight before I actually got one called in. But a lot of it was just my calling. You know, I thought it sounded good. You know, I actually taught myself how to use a mouth call, and apparently I'm not as good as I thought it was. I just got a box call, and the last day I got the box call. Last morning I got the box call and got it out, and I was actually giving up, and I was like, well, let me hit this box call. And I hit the box call, and I had 2 turkeys gobble. One was about 200 yards from me. He was quite a ways. Another one was just like maybe 150 yards. But, I mean, it was a real good experience. I'm excited for this fall. I'm going to try to take one with my bow.
Yeah, man, that's really the only experience I have with, I wouldn't say it's the only experience. I've gone out turkey hunting before with, friends and family and stuff like that, but I've never, like, been super into it. But, I did, when I was younger, I did shoot one with a bow one time. So, I mean, that's basically the only turkey experience I got is, fall bow season I shot one with. So, that was quite a story too, because, I shot it with the bow. And, you know, I just like, I got it. And then it kind of took off, you know, it just took off running. So,
nice.
I ended up finding it, but, you know, that live and learn right there. I learned my lesson. You know, there's certain areas you got to shoot a turkey.
Yeah, I was reading up on that, and, you know, I think you either got to shoot them in the head. Maybe I've seen some videos people were using those slackers and cutting their heads off. And then you've got, like the size of maybe a quarter that you could shoot right there by their leg. That you got to be pretty good to get a good kill shot on. At least that's what I'm reading. But, I'm going to try again this fall. We'll see what happens.
Well, hopefully you got good luck with it this fall. We got quite a few turkeys out here in Oklahoma, so I don't see that being a problem.
We got a few. Not like Tennessee, Kentucky, and up in there. Those guys are, holy cow, they got a lot of turkeys. Tennessee is just like loaded with them. I think they get like 4 turkeys. They can kill like 4 turkeys a year. We get what, 2, 3?
Yeah,
you got to do it. I think you got to do it in different counties. Yeah,
that's my understanding of it. Is in some counties I think you can shoot 2, and in other ones you can only shoot 1. I've never really looked into it because turkey's just not my thing, but.
Well, I'm trying to do it just something new. You know, with our show, I want to be able to bring everything I can to the table. I want to, I'm not going to lie, I like turkey hunting. I've had a lot of people tell me, you know, they'd rather go turkey hunting than deer hunting. Sorry, people. Sorry, guys, but I still like my deer hunting better than the turkey hunting. But I haven't killed a turkey yet, so that may change.
That was very possible. So with the 2018 deer season, and, you know, it's rolling in here, you know, it'll be here before we know it. What is it? Mid of July right now. We got August and September, and then it'll be time. You know, they'll be dropping velvet, turning hardhorn, and it'll be ready to go. So do you have any bucks that you're hoping to see this year?
Well, I've got one from last year that's a really good buck, but I have to back up. Let's go back a little bit. This last deer season for us was not very good. it could come December and nobody had killed a deer. Everybody kept passing on them. My wife and my son, they both hunt. And, you know, I'll go out and I'll film them. A lot of our show you're going to see them doing the hunting. I'll go out and film them, and then if I get a chance, you know, if they get their deer, then I'll go try to get me one. Well, everybody wanted big deer this year, and we had big deer found. We had them found. We had one lease the year before, and we moved to a new lease, and we found these big bucks. And if you know anything about Weyerhaeuser leases, well, we were on a Weyerhaeuser lease. We moved to another Weyerhaeuser lease that was bigger, and, you know, we had to find the deer all over again. We found all these big bucks, and Oklahoma, October 1st is our bow season start. Well, we go out, we start trying to hunt these bucks, and my wife had a really good chance to get the one she wanted. It had a drop tine on one side. It was a 10-point, had a drop side on one side. And it dropped down and it curled. We called him Curly. And my wife is new to deer hunting. She's only been hunting. The last year was like her third year. I think she's killed 5 now. And I've always told my wife and my son both, shoot them behind the shoulder. Well, this buck come in that she wanted to shoot, and it was coming to her, and she's filming the deer. She's filming everything, and he comes in, he's just turned broadside so he can shoot, so that she can shoot him. Well, camera malfunctions. And I'm watching a video, and he's coming to her. I mean, this is during muzzleloader season, and he's like 20 yards walking straight to her. And she's like, well, he didn't give me a shot. I was like, well, why didn't you shoot him in the chest? The way he was angling, he was kind of angling away from you. I said, you could have still got him in the vitals. But she was like, well, I didn't know you could do that. I was like, it's in the vitals. As long as you get it in the vitals, that's all that matters. And she was pretty mad at me. She was like, I didn't know that. If I'd have known that, I would have shot him. But my bad. But, you know, then after, you know, muzzleloader season come, the lease that we had, we had all kinds of locals that trespassed all over that lease, was up there shooting, and it was just a bad place to be, and we wind up just packing all of our stuff up and leaving. We kind of got run off where we was at over there. But this year we're just gonna hunt. We're gonna hunt public land. We've always had a lot of good luck with public land. We know I've been hunting these places all my life, so I know where to go to get away from people. They don't need to pay all that big money just so everybody else can hunt on it too. But
yeah, exactly, man. What was it? I guess it had been 3 or 4 years ago. We had a pretty good lease down by McAllister, and, you know, we had a bunch of big bucks on it. We'd had the lease for a few years. We were passing up little bucks, and then what happened was the landowner actually came out. You know, he was from out of state. He came out, and he had found out that we had some pretty good bucks on camera and stuff, and he came out there and just decided that he wasn't going to lease it anymore after we had put food plots in and cleaned stuff up for him. So ever since then, man, I got permission on a couple little small private properties, but other than that, it's all public for me, man. And we do pretty good. Last year was kind of a bad year, but, you know, I was busy, you know, running around doing all kinds of other stuff. So this year, my main focus is to fill the freezer, and, you know, hopefully one of these big Oklahoma public land bucks will slip up.
The one that I found over there, they said everybody passed on deer. My wife had a chance at that one, and then we left that lease and started hunting public land. And before you know it, it was rifle season, and we actually went to Ohio during Oklahoma rifle season. And we went to Ohio and did some hunting, which we couldn't have been there the worst week of the year. It was like 20-mile-an-hour winds and 20 degrees outside. It was terrible. We didn't have a shot at any deer, but we came back, and then we went back to bow hunting, and you know, by then the deer had already changed their pattern. They were feeding at the edge of fields and stuff, and we just couldn't get them close enough to us. They'd come out one spot one day, you'd see them one day, and we had climbing stands, so we'd move closer to them to where they'd come out the day before, and I'll be danged if they didn't come back out somewhere else. And we just didn't have the opportunity. And I found one buck. We have what's it called, Lindell Fry wildlife management area. You can only hunt that wildlife area from October 1st to October 14th. That's it. And then it's shut down till February 1st. Well, I put some cameras up there, I don't know, in January. I put it along the edge of it. You're not supposed to be in there. I put it along the edge of it. And I got this really big buck come in. He's probably 150, 160, somewhere in there. And he's old. He's really old. I figure he's probably 5 or 6 years old. But I'm going to try to get on him this year, the first 2 weeks. I'm hoping I get a chance at him, but being that I'm gone all week and on the weekends I'll have 4 days to hunt him, so there's a good chance that he'll be there next year.
Man, that's how they get big. They get on those areas where they know that nobody can go.
They know. They know.
They
I
get
caught
in
him
there
on camera. I caught him on camera, and he walked down. I mean, he was just a matter of, 5 to 10 foot where he come in. He stayed where he was supposed to be, where you couldn't shoot him.
It's just like season, man. Just like when the season opens or when the season ends. Like here down the street from my house, I watch deer, all year. I'll go down there in the evenings in the summertime. There's a big soybean field, and I'll go down there and I'll watch them. And towards the end of the season, the farmer goes down there and he'll plant winter wheat or whatever it may be during the winter time. And it'll start greening up a little bit. And last year, right at the end of the season, I went out there and was just kind of watching, because I go fishing down there. Down by the Verdigris River, and I was just down there and I saw a group of deer, and I was like, man, I should just go back and check, just go look, maybe just see what they are. It's kind of fun just to watch the deer sometimes. And I go back and I look, and I could tell a lot of them were does, but there was one big body deer, and he was staying real close to the edge. And I was like, he just knows. He knows if he comes out here and it's out of season, no one's going to mess with him. So he can just show himself, walk around, do whatever he wants to do. And it's crazy. It's like they know the date.
They do. You're right. You're 100% right. September, September, you go see all these deer. Seem like then October 1st comes around. Yeah, it's like, where did they go? They know. You might still see them old does. You'll see them, but they know. They know when season hit. They ain't stupid animals. But I'd like to talk about a show a little bit. I about forgot. You get me talking about the outdoors, man. I have a passion for the outdoors. I love it. I love doing anything outdoors, fishing.
Yeah, me too. Anything that gets me out there, I'm ready to do it. I love it. So, let's talk about your show, man. Tell everybody about it.
Well, we've got a show. You can find us on Facebook, Family Affair Outdoors. We started this about 3 years ago. We're going to air, our first season is going to air October 4th on Gen 7 Outdoors. Gen 7 is for anybody that don't know, Gen 7 is a internet platform where you go and watch, you can watch all these hunt shows. It's a network. Just look up gen7outdoors.com. They even have an app. You can watch it right on your phone. You can download it off Play Store, or you got an iPhone, your little app store there. You should be able to find it, both of them. Find them on Roku, Amazon Fire. It's pretty little neat. Jody Blackwell, he's a good guy. This started about 3 years ago. One of my friends, he's my oldest friend. Me and my whole family has always been big in the outdoors. And we've killed some big deer. And he's always been telling me we need to film and film some of these animals. And one day, finally, I was just like, you know what? We'll do it. So I went and bought, like anybody else, I went and bought some cheap cameras and started filming, and I put it on Facebook, and, we was actually getting quite a bit of views on these videos and stuff. And then I had a friend of mine, his name's Brandon. He says, he tells me about, another guy named Keith that could get us on this internet platform. And I was like, cool. So, we jumped all over it, and the first year we come up, I didn't have enough footage. I didn't, I jumped into something. I didn't know what I was doing. I was like anybody else. I'd go out there, I'd film the kill shots. I wouldn't film anything else. So I didn't have enough. So the first year I was like, man, we need to do this. We need to do this next year. So we pushed it off, and we're going to air October 4th on Gen 7. And what I did, I wanted to do something that nobody else had done before. I think we've kind of nailed it here. We've actually, on our show, you're going to see trucking and hunting. We own SMJ Trucking. So you'll see a little bit of the trucking in there. I go out during the week. I'm like everybody else. I'm just like anybody else that works and hunts. I work during the week. I come home on the weekend, and that's when I do my hunting, my fishing, any of that. And so what I did, I just took the trucking. You're going to see me out trucking, and you'll see us come in. We go out, we haul loads, and come home and we go into the outdoors.
And I think people can relate with that. I think it should do good, man. I think that, the average person, I think a lot of times, especially on TV shows and stuff like that, we get guys that, go out to these outfitters and, they shoot 200-inch deer every time they go out. And it kind of puts a persona on everybody that, especially a guy, let's say a young gentleman or maybe a young girl that's going out for their first time. They're like, oh, well, I got to shoot a deer that big, or whatever it may be. And it kind of makes it to where, that's not even possible for some people, especially people that are hunting state land or stuff like that. I'm not saying you can't shoot big deer on state land, because you absolutely can. And I think last year I know of two 200-inch deer that were harvested on state land in Oklahoma last year. But those guys are the ones that are out there right now in the middle of July getting these deer figured out, finding out where they go, where they live, how they live their life. And that's why they harvest those kind of deer.
No, and you absolutely can. It's just like anything else. You put effort into it, and it most of the time it pays off. You get out there. We do the same thing, which I haven't started. Usually, whenever we had them leases and stuff, Oklahoma, you can feed and you can bait and all that stuff on private land, but you can't on government land. I'd go out. I fed all year and I had my cameras up all year, but unfortunately, you can't leave your cameras up all year when you're hunting government land, because they won't be there when you come back, and they won't be there. But I am next month, August. I'm going to go down. I'm going to start putting my cameras up. I'm going to start watching them, and hopefully this season, this year will be a better year than last year. But we also have plans this year. We're going to go to Cross Trail Adventures over in Manitoba, Canada. We're gonna travel over there. They're a guide. They're gonna put us on some black bear. I've never killed a bear before. We're gonna try to go over and shoot a couple black bears with our bows. I've never even been to Canada before, so this will be a pretty cool experience.
It should be, man. That's one of the things. I mean, I keep tossing around the idea. I want to go on a hunt somewhere else, whether that be an elk hunt or whatever it may be. But black bear is definitely on the list. So I hope you get up there and you guys have a great time and harvest some good bear, man. Plus, I hear it's really good eating.
That's what they say. We'll go up there and find out. Hopefully, I mean, these guys are good people up there. Fran and Carl Cross, they own Cross Trail Adventures. They actually staff for us, and they've been trying to get us to come up for years and do some hunting. It's just we ain't to that status where people give us free hunts or anything, so we have to pay for that. So we're limited to what we can do. We actually had to save up for this so we could go up there and do these because it's not cheap, and it's just not high fence or anything. This is all they own the land there. He's just a guide, and every week Fran will send me pictures of these big bear, and I'm like, killing me. She just sent me some the other day. They've got some really big bear up there.
Yeah, that's my understanding of it. I was talking to someone the other day that he's going to Maine next spring on a bear hunt, and he was telling me that he went this year, and he was just surprised because he's hunted them here in Oklahoma, down in the southeastern part of the state. You know, I think it's LaFleur County, where there's LaFleur and McCurtain County. I think you can hunt in both of those, and there might be one more. I think don't quote me on that. I might be wrong, but he's hunted down there, and he said it's not even comparable. He said the bear that you see in Oklahoma compared to the bear you see up there, it's like, you know, our bear like a baby compared to some of the ones I got up there.
They're definitely bigger bear. But you know, you was talking about McCurtain County. That's where we had that leak. That's why I wanted. I was hoping there was bear, but you know, if you look on the map, you know Oklahoma has a map, and it'll show you the areas where there's bear. And it showed that area to have bear in it, but we never seen no bear. But you talking about deer, holy cow, you know, McCurtain County produces some of the biggest deer in Oklahoma. I don't know what it is up there. I guess it's all that Weyerhaeuser land. They've got plenty of places to hide, and they've got plenty of food and water.
Yeah, cause I think it has something to do with, you know, all like you said, all that land that's down there. Cause, you know, you get down around McCurtain County, down there, southeastern part of the state, you don't have a lot of cities, you know, you got like McAllister, you got Broken Bow, stuff like that down there, Antlers. But, you know, there's a lot of little towns that are strung out apart and lots of land. And, you know, some of that land's pretty rough to be running around on too. So, you know, they can get back there and hide out and get big.
Well, yeah, there is. There's a lot of land. Like some of that stuff you can't crawl through. Man, sticker bushes, you can't crawl through that stuff. And them deer know it. They can literally, you know, they can lay there, stand up and eat, and, you know, walk a few feet, drink, and lay back down. There's so much land there that's like that. Even, you know, deer, the rut and stuff, they can travel that stuff. And there's so much land there that's like that. You don't see them. They can hide in that stuff, and you don't ever see them.
Yeah, it's definitely a different style of hunting down there than what a lot of people up here around the Tulsa area and stuff like that do, man. Because like I grew up down there by Wilburton, and I say grew up. I lived down there when I was a kid, and you know that's kind of what I grew up hunting in. And it's completely different, man. You know, not a lot of people hunt out of stands and stuff like that down there. A lot of people go and find the deer compared to you know, up here we kind of, you know, put bait and stuff. And people do that down there too. But the hogs have gotten so bad down around that area, it's hard to keep bait out. It's hard to keep a feeder or anything out there. And from my somebody I know, he's got a lease down there, and he can't even keep a feeder on the ground because the bear will come through and knock it over and eat all the corn out of it in one day. And then, you know, it's almost a 3-hour drive down there. He's like, oh, I can't go check it for another week or two, and gets down there, and all he's got pictures of on his trail camera is one day where a bear came through and knocked it all over, and just sat there and ate.
Oh, wow. The hogs are just as bad. I put feeders up, and they would come. The big hogs, they would come in there. They've got it figured out. They'll bump them feeders and knock. I've had some big hogs come through there. I've had them knock them over because, you know, feeders I got are what you buy at Walmart. Some of them, what is that? Wild Game Innovations.
Yeah.
And I'll put some of them out. And I had them hogs come and knock them over. And I got to where I was just pouring the corn out on the ground. But you do that, the hogs, they'll just sit there and eat it till it's all gone. I got thousands and thousands of pictures of them. They sleep like right up against my stand. I had one that laid down up and propped his back up against the ladder on my stand and just slept there. He slept there, and every once in a while he'd get up and eat, and he'd go back over and lay down.
Man, they're getting ridiculous, and I think a lot of people overlook Oklahoma. Like, I talked to a bunch of people from out of state, especially up north, you know, like Iowa, Nebraska, places where they don't have hog problems and stuff like that. And, you know, everybody's like, oh, man, I want to go to Texas to hunt hogs. And I'm like, dude, you come to Oklahoma, there's just as – I mean, I'm not going to say there's just as many, but we've got a lot. We've got a lot of hogs here in Oklahoma, and it kind of gets overlooked.
It does get overlooked. You're right. The only thing is with Oklahoma, it is hard to hunt them. You're going to have to put a lot of work in. If you're going to hunt on public land, it is so hard. And I wish Oklahoma would change the laws, because you can't bait them on public land. and you can't hunt them at night unless you're running them with dogs. And, you know, if you run them with dogs at night, you have to stab them with a knife. If you catch one on public land, you have to kill it. They don't want you to let it go. And for somebody like me, I like to shoot them with a bow. So the night thing, that's out of the question. And I don't have hog dogs, but there's a lot of people that do. But there's so many hogs, and there's not enough people that hunt them. I've seen a big group of them. I come across the lake. Me and my wife come across the lake yesterday, and there was a big group of them sitting there on that Little Fry reservation I was telling you about. It comes out to the lake there, and we come by there. There's a big group of them right there at the edge of the water. They were drinking water, and they were kind of feeding around in the grass there.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of them, and most of the public land areas have them, and I don't know if it's necessarily the fact that people don't try to hunt them. I think it's that a lot of people do try to hunt them, and I think that they all go nocturnal. So they get back there in those thick areas, especially like you're saying, by a lake or by a river or something like that, and get up in there where those thick areas where nobody else will go. But there's definitely a lot of them.
There's a lot of them where we live. I don't know anybody that hunts them other than a few people that have dogs that hunt them. Me, I hunt them, but you got to put your work in, because you can find them at one spot. They'll be coming up at one spot one day, and the next day they may not be there. There's just too many places for them to go. They've got plenty of water. They run around those thickets. And then, like out there on that lake there, you got all that buckbrush and stuff. They hide up in that buckbrush. Boy, it's really hard on public land. But if you can feed them on private land, get them coming up there. Now that's a whole different story. You can get them coming in there, and you can kill them like that. Sometimes we like to go. You were talking about Texas. We'll go over to Texas. I know people that have ranches over there, and they beg you to come over and shoot them. Come over here, kill all you want. And we go. I know several different places we go over there and hunt. The last few years we got to where we go over there. There's some of them places. Texas has got a lot of those rams, like Corsicana rams and those black Hawaiian. Now you can go over and shoot those. They got a lot of high fences in Texas, and them animals get out. So you can go over there on public land and shoot those things. We like to do that. I like the rams. Them rams are good eating.
That's what I've heard. That and the axis deer, man. What is it? I think it's called. It's called Osage Wall or something like. It's a public hunting area up north of northern Oklahoma by the Kansas state line, and they had some. I know a couple guys that shot some axis deer up there, and that's what the game wardens were saying. They were like, I don't know where they came from. Must have escaped from somewhere.
Yeah, I get out of them high fences quite a bit. Just about any public land you go to, you can shoot those, but a lot of that stuff you got to draw, if I'm not mistaken. Like
yeah, you may be correct. I'm not real sure. I just know that they shot one, and I was like, man, that's crazy shooting an axis deer. I mean, I don't even know what I would be thinking if I was sitting in my stand and that just walked up, or like an elk, because those are becoming more and more common across the state. Like one of my buddies, he hunts down there at that the Cherokee Wildlife Management Area, or the Cherokee Public Hunting Land, whatever it is, over by Muskogee. And that's what he was saying. He was saying, man, I've heard they were there. I never believed it. And then I was in my stand one day, and here comes one just walking by. And he was like, you can't really do anything. You don't have a tag, and I don't think you can take them in there. But it was just like, it was a crazy experience just to be sitting there deer hunting and just have an elk just walk out.
Yeah, the elk are, I know where you're talking about over there. Donovan, he owns DKM Deer Scent. He's over by Perkins, Oklahoma.
So you got hooked up with Hoff over there at Ethics Archery. How are you liking those inserts?
I won't hunt without them inserts. Man, I've got the spinning inserts. I've got the 94 grain spinning insert. And before I was using them, before I started using them, at 50 yards, I did pretty good at 50 yards. I don't know, about the size of, it was in a paper plate at 50 yards. And I put them things on and started practicing with them. And now at 50 yards, man, I'm probably $half at 50 yards. I mean, the difference it made was, it just blows my mind. The spinning inserts are awesome. My wife uses them now, and so does my son. My son was having a problem. He was, at about 35 back, he was having a problem. He may get, a couple of them within, maybe a quarter, within the size of a quarter. That's 30 yards back. And then he may have one shoot off to the left or one shoot off to the right. And we put them spinning inserts on there, and they made all the difference. He's shooting. He don't quite shoot as good as I do, but it dang sure made a big difference. And, they sell the outserts too. One of my friends, Joey, he shoots the outserts. Now those things, the outserts that they have, those things are crazy. They will not, you can shoot a cow through the head. I think you could shoot a cow through the head and it'd go clean through. I mean, the knockdown power, you're looking at what, 200 something grains by the time you put those in. Have you shot them?
I haven't personally shot him. Hoss he's been bugging me about it, and I think I'm gonna end up picking some up. But I have seen some of the videos that he has made where one of them he shot a center block, and those are the things that blow my mind. He shot a center block. I saw him shoot at like an oxygen acetylene tank with one of those inserts in there. And what's crazy to me about it is I'm like, oh yeah, anybody can shoot a center block. Anybody can shoot a tank. But the thing that's surprising me is that it's not hurting the arrow at all. Like, it's not splintering the carbon fiber arrows. It's not doing anything to them. They're perfectly fine afterwards. So, I think that's,
put them back in your quiver.
Yeah, it's crazy. And, that's that. And then he kind of explained to me the FOC, the front, the weight and everything, why you should be shooting a heavier arrow. And, I was just like, dude, it makes perfect sense. When you think of, hunting with a gun, you think, we want to take down something big. You want to get a big bullet. You want a lot of weight behind your bullet. And, it made perfect sense to me when he explained it. And I was just like, dude, I don't know why I'd never thought of that before.
Well, and you're right. A lot of people, most people, if you go talk to people, they're all about speed. Speed. Speed is good. But you also need that penetration too. So, but if you're a hunter, my opinion, if you're a hunter, you need that happy medium. I shoot a 300 spline goat tip. I think Hall shoots a 250. I think he shoots a 250. Before I started shooting them inserts, I was shooting like a 350, and it made all the difference. It made all the difference. Like those inserts, when you put those inserts on, if you're having trouble when you shoot those inserts on, more than likely it's because you're flying too high. But
go ahead.
But if you get that thing spine right and use those inserts, I promise you won't go in the woods without them. I've got a couple of arrows that don't have them on it just for backup. And I remember I went deer hunting and I just felt naked without them. I didn't feel right. And I got to have those spinning inserts. I did a few demonstrations on them, on our Facebook page. They're on our Facebook page. You can go to our Vimeo. We're on Vimeo. We're on Instagram. Just look us up, Family Affair Outdoors. And I did a few different demonstrations on it. Hoss just did some on it. But I highly recommend them inserts. I really do. They're amazing. That's an amazing product. And they're that's an awesome product. If you're hunting, I mean, especially if you're a hog hunter like me, you need that extra penetration. Because I've shot them hogs before, and I've got footage where my son, he shot this hog, and he got it up kind of high. Those hogs have those shields. You know, they have that extra layer, that shield there. And he's got a 70-pound bow, and he shot it up high in the shoulder blade, and I bet that thing didn't go in. I bet that arrow didn't go in 2 or 3 inches. But if you'll put that extra weight on that arrow like that, even up high, I shot a hog December. It come in behind me, and the only shot I had was kind of up high a little bit, and I shot that hog with that spinning insert. It was a pass through. The arrow didn't. It was a pass through. It was sticking out the other side. But if I hadn't had those inserts on there, I don't think I'd have killed that hog.
So what type of broadheads are you using?
That broadhead there, I was using a Wacom. It was their steel, inch, it was like 1.25 inch cut. And it was fixed blade. I shot him with a fixed blade.
Yeah, I think that in the past I've used mechanicals, but I think this year I'm gonna start using go back to the fixed blades. I'm not really sure what I'm gonna shoot yet, but I'm gonna pick something up.
Well, don't get me wrong, I like the mechanical just because it's a mechanical is, it just kind of knocks a step out. You ain't gotta go back and retune your bow once you sight it in with your field point. You ain't gotta go back and tune your bow back in with like you do with a fixed blade. But I've had luck with them. I shoot them. I've got a crossbow. Sometimes I'll go out and hunt with my crossbow, and I shoot mechanicals out of it just because that crossbow, I don't like shooting my crossbow a whole lot just because, just for the simple fact, me, a crossbow is very dangerous. And I don't like shooting them a whole lot like that. I just don't trust them. I don't trust them. I do like to hunt with them, but I'll go out and I'll kind of dial it in with that field point, and then all I got to do is screw on that mechanical, and I'm done. But if I'm shooting that fixed blade, then I have to dial it in just a little bit more. So I just go with the mechanical whenever I shoot that crossbow.
Awesome. So do you want to go ahead and plug your Facebook, and do you guys have an Instagram? And you said you have a Vimeo, but do you guys have a YouTube and stuff like that?
We have YouTube. If you go over to YouTube, you're going to see some of our old stuff. I haven't updated it yet, but once our episodes start, I'm going to go back. I'll go back and update it. You'll be able to find our episodes on YouTube. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because you'll be able to find our episodes on YouTube in September. I'm gonna start putting them on there in September, and then October they'll be on Gen 7, and then also Vimeo. Vimeo, I'll start putting them on there about September, and also our web page. We have a website, familyaffairoutdoor.com. It's outdoor, not outdoors. Don't put an S on it. Familyaffairoutdoor.com. You'll be able to watch them on there as well.
So, like I said, a little bit of everything in this week's podcast. We talk a little bit about bear hunting, Oklahoma deer hunting, hogs, and Family Affair Outdoors. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this week's podcast. And if you did, if you found any kind of interest in this, if it just took you out of your world for a minute and let you escape and think about deer hunting or hogs or whatever it may be, please leave me a review. It helps out the podcast a lot, and it also looks good for people that are also looking for new podcasts to listen to. So, I hope you guys have a safe weekend. If you're in Oklahoma, stay dry because I hear it's going to rain. And don't forget, velvet bucks are out right now, so make sure you're checking your trail cameras. And remember to tune in next Saturday for the next episode of the Devoted Outdoorsman's podcast.